All right, guys, so I wanted to give a kind of a recap on how the lake house renovation is coming. We are in the first week of spring, even though it may not seem like it. We've got snow on the ground, but we've come a long way and we've still got a long ways to go before we make it to summer, which my goal was to get this at least mostly done by summer. So as you can see in the back, and we filmed a lot of this in previous videos, we started by cutting out and kind of reshaping this whole hillside, and then we put in a block retaining wall up there to kind of hold back that hillside and flatten that area to create more of a walkout on the lake side of the house. We also tiered this level down here with these two timber retaining walls, which was a ton of work, but it really paid off in the end to be able to have this space that's more usable and just be able to enjoy it for the summers to come. So with the retaining walls all done, there are still a few odds and ends that we need to wrap up, and obviously we're waiting for a little bit warmer weather to work back outside, but we'll be adding a staircase in here to come down to this tier, and then we'll be adding a staircase down there to be able to get down to the lakeside with railing and lighting and all of that stuff to make it not only convenient but safe to be able to get through these levels even in the darkness. Now the other thing you'll see behind me is the entire house got re-sheathed. Now, basically what happened was we had the existing siding, which was aluminum siding, and that was fastened directly to the original lap siding, wood lap siding that was fastened directly to the exterior studs. Now, none of that is to code, and it needed to all come off so that we could get that flat surface to be able to install siding on at that time, when that time comes. Now, the other issue was that since our exterior walls are only 2x4s, you can't get enough insulation in a 2x4 wall to meet the current code. So what we did was we installed these Zip R panels, which have an inch of continuous insulation, which is an R6.6, I believe, all the way around the outside from top to bottom, and that's going to give us what we need to get to code. Let's head on inside where it's nice and warm and we can go over everything that we've done so far. All right, so we're inside, and I know we've got a little bit of a mess behind us, but I do want to mention that if you haven't gone back and watched that initial walkthrough of the inside of this house, do that, because you'll see what we started with and how far we've come. We actually took this entire structure and lifted it up about 2 feet, added to the foundation. We also solidified the foundation. We cut out new windows over there to make those bigger, as well as walkout patio doors across the back. It really lets a ton of light in here and also gives you that ease of access to the back, to the lake side of the house. Now the other thing we did was we insulated the walls and the floor with InsoFast insulation. And the cool thing about that is it has those studs built into the wall, insulation and electrical raceways. That way all of that is a one-step process. Great product. I've got a full video on that, so make sure you go back and check that out. Now, the one thing that we did, well, one of several decisions we had to make when we were putting that insulation in was the plumbing for this bathroom. We had a vent in the corner, and it was the original cast iron in the floor. During that process, we opted to leave it and kind of foam around it. However, I've come back and I changed my mind. We went ahead, since we're doing all of this work, we might as well bust out that entire section of concrete, remove the cast iron plumbing, and replace it with PVC. So right now, I've got a hole in the concrete, and we're ready for the plumber to come back in and plumb up the waistline for the toilet, as well as the sink will be attached to that, which we have gotten rid of that entire vent and then refoamed into that corner. Now the other thing we did was we were able to frame out a new staircase location. The old staircase was right about here, and we were able to tear that out and reframe this new opening as well as the staircase, which the closet below the staircase will serve as our mechanical room. This is where our new 200 amp electrical panel will be. It is there already. And we've got new service, temporary service. They're going to be running the electrical wire that is overhead, burying that underground and coming into the house, which will be nice. But all under here will be our water filtration. Our water heater will go on this wall right here, and we'll have all kinds of different fun things to make sure that we have good, clean drinking water. Now, unfortunately, I had to frame out this staircase twice because of a stupid mistake. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you go back and check that one out. I detail the entire process of tearing out this staircase, reframing this opening, and framing out the new staircase. Now, the other thing that we did downstairs was we installed strapping on the bottom of the floor joist. This is going to give us a nice flat spot to hang our drywall to, but it's also going to help with that sound control, those vibrations that are coming through the floor joist and making sound like the footprints and whatnot from upstairs. Now, that does so by isolating all of the touch points between the floor joist and the drywall, because now we're able to run 16 inches on center, whereas the joists were 24-ish inches on center before. But now you've got these single touch points. And then we also added a layer of foam tape that is the green glue joist tape, and that's going to help isolate that strapping from the floor joist as well. Not only does this stiffen up our floor system, it also helps with sound improvements, sound isolation, and we'll also get that mineral wool up in there as well to muffle the sound. But the strapping and that green glue tape will help with any vibrations that are traveling through that wood-to-wood connection. Now, we're in the rough mechanical phase of this project, which includes plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. Now, the plumbing for the master bedroom is done there, or master bathroom is done there, and the plumbing for the guest bathroom is done there. And these are two new additional bathrooms that are being added upstairs where there was none before. Now, as far as HVAC goes, we're going with mini splits. We've got the Astoria unit from Cooper & Hunter down here. This is going to condition this entire space down here. And we've got some very cool units upstairs that I'm going to show you now. Let's head on up there. Now, in that video where I framed that staircase out, I also included the entire reframing of the upstairs. We tore out every single wall, every single window, every single ceiling joist, and we completely reframed it. Now, the overall layout of the upstairs or configuration is going to be 3 bedrooms. We've got 1 master on the lakeside, master bedroom and bathroom. We've got a guest bathroom here, and then we've got 2 bedrooms on they call it the back of the house when you're on a lake. The lakeside is the front of the house, but it's the side facing the road. As far as HVAC goes, in both of these bedrooms, we're going with the one-way cassettes from Cooper & Hunter. Now, the cool thing about these units are that they actually recess up into the ceiling joists. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that downstairs because we had 2x8 floor joists, which was not enough space, but we were able to do that up here since we have the attic above. And they recess, they flush mount to the ceiling, and each room will be able to independently control the temperature of that room, which is a great setting, especially having guests here, kids in one room, and we'll be able to kind of dictate how we want those temperatures in each room. Now, in between the master, which we are in now, and the other 2 bedrooms is that guest bathroom. That's going to have a bathtub, toilet, vanity, and then just outside of that bathroom is the stackable washer and dryer spot with built-in drain that's connected to the system. Awesome plumbing job. A lot of that rough-in is completed now and vented up to the attic and out the roof. So when it comes to the plumbing, we got most of that wrapped up, but upstairs we're going to have a stackable washer and dryer, or maybe a 2-in-1 washer and dryer. Now, I'm going to be going with probably a ventless washer and dryer, ventless dryer, which means that it will be kind of a heat pump style where it'll be able to capture that water and hopefully drain it down our drain if we select the right one. But the benefits are the dryer is not going to be exhausting air from the house. It's not going to be pulling air from the house, which is a good thing. Also, not going to have that penetration. But having your washer and dryer on the 2nd floor, in order to safe-proof that if anything ever happens, we added a pan down here. This is a washer and dryer pan. This is a heavier duty fiberglass pan, kind of like a shower pan, that's going to go below the washer and dryer. That way, if anything ever happens, the water will collect in this pan and go down this drain. Eventually, this will have like a shower flange in there. And that is all connected to the main drain that goes out. So, a nice big 2-inch pipe and never get clogged up. and any of that water, any mishaps, will not damage our floor or the ceiling below us. Now, for the master, we've got this giant 8-foot window, which unfortunately you can't see out, but once the windows arrive, I cannot wait to get those set in place so that we can see what that view is actually going to look like. Another detail that we added was the tray ceiling in here. Just being a standard 8-foot height ceiling, I thought it would be nice to be able to add a little bit more height than here to maybe get a ceiling fan or something like that. Now, as far as the HVAC in this room, we went with a ducted mini split, which is a smaller unit that is going to be in the attic, and that way we can run ducts to the master bedroom, master bathroom, and the guest bathroom. Now, one thing I wanted to do in here was, rather than using a standard register, I wanted to use a linear diffuser. Now, I went ahead and built a plenum for the ducts to go into, and then cut and kind of framed out below it, so we've got a nice linear diffuser. I just think that'll look really sharp in the overall, once the whole thing is finished. I think that will look much better than just 2 registers in the ceiling. Okay, so this is the ducted mini split that I'm talking about. It's a very small unit, and this will get hung from the roof rafters, and then I've already started putting together the return duct, which will come through this bay, this joist bay right here, and have a return down below in the master bedroom. And then on this side over here, we'll actually have the plenum that will connect all the ducts to where they need to go. So it's a pretty simple install, and one of these units, I forget, it's like $2 or $3 grand, something like that. So you could honestly size this up a little bit and be able to do the whole house with it, which the other benefit of using mini splits is that they are super efficient, like way more efficient than a typical unit. And the old school of thought for mini splits was that they weren't efficient at lower temperatures, but now with the new Cooper & Hunter Hyper line, you're actually you have good efficiency down to like negative 22 degrees. So one thing that I am focused on with this house is not only building an energy efficient house, which means kind of air sealing it and keeping the air that we're conditioning inside of the house, but also building a healthy home. And I talked a little bit downstairs about the amount of water filtration that we're going to have in this house to have nice clean water. But one of the big things is having nice, clean air. Now, when you build an airtight house, the problem is you end up with stale air inside the house, and all the contaminants, which we are polluters ourselves. We put off contaminants when we cook, when we breathe, all those things. So being able to filter that air and exchange that indoor air with outdoor fresh air is a really good thing to do in an airtight home. Now, we're going to be doing that with the Broan ERV. Now, this system will bring in that fresh air, and it will temper it with the outgoing air. So it's going to not only bring in, right now, today, it is 28 degrees. So it's not going to bring in 28 degree air and dump it into your house. It's going to temper that air and kind of bring it up to temperature with the internal air so that you don't have cold air. But it's also going to filter that air as it's coming in. So I've started ducting this unit, and we've still got a ways to go, but essentially the exhaust, the stale air that it's going to pull out of the house is going to be where the most contamination is. That's going to be humidity and just contamination from the kitchen. So we're going to be exhausting air from the kitchen and the 2 bathrooms up here, and that is going to be continuously running to pull out that humidity and all those contaminants out of that air and exhaust them out. And then we're going to build in the supply side of that, so the fresh air that is incoming from outside, that will dump into the bedrooms, where you're going to be spending your most time at night, and then also being upstairs, the bedrooms, they don't get that fresh air from the doors opening as much as possible. So being able to dump in fresh air into those zones is going to create that healthy air system inside the house. Now, one thing that I've kind of taken note of in our house, and I thought we did a pretty good job, and we did in certain places, but there were certain places that I wanted to improve the acoustic or soundproofing of the house. One issue was in our house, our master bed sits against the wall where the shower is. Now you can hear the water running through the wall while the shower's on. So in order to kind of isolate the drywall from that wall, we will also be adding some mineral wool in that wall to be able to control that sound. But we added 1x3 strapping. This is spaced 24 inches on center. And behind that, I actually installed some green glue joist tape. And that just serves as a little isolation from wood to wood, kind of that dampens those vibrations coming through the wood to wood connection. So we went ahead and did that. The other thing that I've started on is our Ethernet. Now, I have ran Ethernet everywhere that I can possibly think of. I ran one behind the bed because I am not 100% sure of where the TV is going to go here. We've got this big window bed on here. Now, whether or not we're going to need that interconnection, I don't know, but I went ahead and did that. I also put one over there, and then I put a drop. You can see the blue lines in the wall where each of the TVs are going to go or could potentially go in these other bedrooms. I also ran power or Ethernet to the doorbell and basically everywhere that I could think we would need it, including security cameras, access points for internet, all that fun stuff. So these are some of the things that are easy to do, something that I can do myself and will save me a lot of headache in the future, and being able to limit as much of the wireless data that we use as possible, or that Wi-Fi connection. So let's head on over to the master bathroom and I'll kind of go over what's going on in there. So as far as the master bathroom goes, it's a smaller bathroom, but that's the space we've got to work with, so we're going to make the most out of it. Starting with the pocket door. Most of the time this door is going to be open, so being able to recess that door in there and kind of keep it out of the way is going to be a big thing. Now we'll have a vanity here, which we've already got the rough plumbing in place for that, and then the toilet will go here. Now as far as the shower goes, this is where it really gets fun. I've gone ahead and dropped the floor so that we'll have a curbless shower. The drain is at the back here. Hopefully we'll have a linear drain across there, a bench across here, and then we'll have body sprayers, a handheld, and a rain shower head. Now, we ran the plumbing above the ceiling because actually our roof is going to be insulated, giving us that conditioned attic space that we needed to keep that plumbing from freezing, obviously. Now, the issue that I had was as you come into the shower, obviously we'll probably have glass right here across the front, but as you come into the shower, normally you would need to adjust the shower setting or turn the shower on. So you'd have to open this door and you'd have to reach across here and turn the shower on, and then what happens? The rain shower head dumps right on top of your head. So I was trying to come up with a solution for that problem, and obviously these two walls are going to be exterior walls, so I can't run any plumbing there. So what I did was I came up with the solution, which I'm not 100% sold on yet, but I've got an electronic shower valve. So this is a cable that runs down to my mechanical room, and all of these lines you can see right here, each of these lines have dedicated lines that go down to the mechanical room and attach to that shower valve. This wire through that controller will send a signal to that valve and tell it to turn on whichever zone we want and bring it up to whatever temperature we want. That all sounds really cool, and it is. As long as it works. It's an electronic device, so hopefully everything will work out and this will work as intended. All right, guys, so I hope you got the gist of what we have been able to achieve so far, as well as what we're working on now. We've got a ton of different projects going on, including that electrical, HVAC, and plumbing to finish up, which can be overwhelming at times, but I know that if we just keep pushing through it and doing a little bit each day, we'll get to that finish line eventually, which I am hopeful for, and I know it'll be worth it in the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, be safe and happy building.